Hello and welcome to Wrecked Roulette, where the audience has to guess whether we're sober, drunk, or high. Today's guest is Bradley Martin. He is a Toronto comedian, and we had lots of laughs on this episode. I apologize for my audio quality. I got a USB mic for the time I'm spending here at my parents'. I think I'm going to take it back, though. Doesn't sound so great. So I apologize for that. But enjoy the rest of the podcast. Okay. All right. Welcome to Wrecked Roulette, where you have to guess whether we're sober, drunk, or high. Our guest tonight is Brad Martin. He's a Toronto comedian. We're going to ask him some questions, play some games. It's going to be a fun time. Loves me some comedians. So, Brad, you said you were playing some shows recently.
Yes. Yeah, I did a few shows in person for the first time in like a year, which was really good. I've been doing the Zoom comedy shows, which is it's interesting, but yeah, just getting back into it now, so it feels pretty good. I got one coming up soon, and it's going to be good. So I'm excited.
Now, where are you going to be playing?
I will be at it's called the Comedy Smackdown in Toronto. It's at some bar. I forget the name of it right now, but
that's funny.
It's very good with Ali Banks as the host. So
Comedy
Smackdown. So on these Zoom comedy shows, do you get like Zoom hecklers?
Actually, yeah.
Really?
No way.
I need further explanation.
The worst one for me was this woman. She left her camera and her dog was staring into the microphone and kept barking at me. So, and I have this joke in my set about Marley and Me. And they're making a sequel, and I don't want to give anything away, but the sequel is going to be called Me. You know, the dog dies in the first
Just
one.
me. Womp womp.
Classic animal death, but the dog was barking throughout my whole set, and I was like, man, I'm even being heckled by a dog right now. Like, it's like an eye-opening experience.
It's like, I am not a fan of your Marley and Me joke.
Yeah.
I disapprove.
That's amazing. What's the most interesting heckling in person you've gotten as a performer?
So I did a show in Oshawa, and the kind of indicator of where this story is going. And kind of like really rundown bar downtown, and this guy, he just kept talking throughout my entire set. So then I forget what jokes I even made about it, but basically it all boiled down to like, oh, well, we are in Oshawa, and like, you're so, blah, 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 because you're from Oshawa, haha. And then he ended up just saying like, say a joke about Oshawa one more time. And I felt like that scene in like Elf, right? Like the little person, he's like, call me now one more time.
Yeah.
It was literally like that, because I was like, blah, 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 Oshawa. And then he takes a beer bottle and he whips it at me.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Thankfully, it smashed behind the wall, and, cops had to get involved, like security. And it was one of those, like, I was still on stage, and I tried to, like, I was so awkward, and like, I was like, anyway, so grocery stores.
I don't know how to segue out of this.
Because I had jokes about Oshawa, but I didn't have jokes about like almost being attacked, Like,
yeah.
So you're working on those for your future repertoire, I assume.
Yeah. So now whenever I get a beer bottle thrown at me again.
No, and it's a good anecdote.
Exactly.
It's nothing, yeah.
Hopefully I have something, but
I didn't know that people from Oshawa were like so proud about being from Oshawa.
That's what I thought too. I thought they were more like self-aware, like, we get it,
Kind of like, yeah.
They loved it there, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So what style of comedy do you do?
So I do, it all depends on the set. I love one-liners.
Yeah.
So if it's a shorter set, I try to just fill it up with as many one-liners as I can. But if I'm able to get, a longer set, I love telling stories and doing kind of bits. Like, I don't know if we have time, but I have like a story I love to tell where for Take Your Kid to Work Day, I actually had to assist on a testicle surgery at a hospital.
Hey, we have time.
We have time for this.
100% have time for that. Let's go.
Do tell.
It's one of those moments where, like, at the time you're just like, that shouldn't have happened, right? Like, it feels illegal. And so it was a grade 9 Take Your Kid to Work Day, and my stepdad is a surgeon in Hagersville, which is a small town south of Hamilton.
Okay.
And he's a doctor, and I used to want to be a doctor, and I was like, I'll go with you. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I had this girl I had a huge crush on. Her name was Tegan. Don't worry, it's a fake name. And so I was like, hey, you want to be a nurse? How about you come with me, and maybe I can show you the ropes a bit. Like, I was way too cocky for no reason type of thing.
Oh, man.
I brought her to the hospital, and I thought it was going to be like Grey's Anatomy, but it ended up just being like, there's two type of patients. There's old people who just felt tired, and there's young people, like children, who just had a tummy ache. And it was just not at all what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this man comes in. He was very tall, 6'4". He had muscles, sleeve of tattoos, a construction vest on, a hard hat. And he had one hand gripping his wife's hand, and he had one hand gripping his, downstairs, his genitals, if you will. And he kind of spoke with like these Disney like innuendos. Like, he kept saying like, my Netherlands are like, it's very odd. And he spoke very quietly and gentle, kind of like a blanket. And we went into the other room, and he said, can the little doctors please leave? So I'm like, that's fine. I don't think today's the day where I want to see a stranger's genitalia. Yeah. So me and Tegan, we left, went to the doctor's lounge. And about an hour later, the nurses asked if we want any Timbits from Tim Hortons. So I'm like, for sure. But just as we're about to indulge, if you will, my stepdad came in with a big smile on his face, and he said, Brad, today's your lucky day. You get to see what a surgery is going to be like. It turns out he had an ingrown hair on his testicle that got infected. And
wow.
He, cut open and procedured on, I guess.
Oh, wow.
I don't know any of the terms, so I was not very good at my assistance. But so there was in this surgery room, I had like 5 pairs of gloves on, and I had to literally table shelf this guy's genitalia on my hand.
Oh my
God. A showgirl on The Price is Right. Like,
let's see what he's won.
While your crush is standing like beside you.
Yeah, she got to observe all of it. And I'm looking anywhere but. And then I remember very clearly my stepdad saying, Brad, look at this. And just as I looked, he made the incision on the testicles. And then I woke up in the doctor's lounge. Totally fainted.
Oh no.
And Tegan,
that's amazing.
She was hovering over me, right?
That's a hardcore first surgery to watch.
It is. It's not like gunshots or stab wounds. It's infected genitalia, apparently. Like, that's most of it. And she was looking at me, and at this point, I was 14, right? I never had my first kiss, and I thought, you know what? Today's the day. She just watched me faint after holding another man's testicles. Obviously, she's in the mood.
Pure romance. Come on.
She's like, hey, Brad, remember this? And in her hand, she's holding 2 Timbits. And then I fainted again. And that's how I became really good friends with her.
Wow.
And yeah, that's the story of basically...
that's amazing.
I forget how we got there, but... That's when I realized I didn't want to be a doctor anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do.
So you mostly do like stand-up stuff. Do you do any like recorded stuff or?
Not yet. I was actually booked. Me and my friend, also from Toronto. We were supposed to do kind of a joint comedy taping. I was going to do half an hour and he was going to do half an hour. And we are going to do like this promo CD thing. And then COVID hit. And then that all went down the drain for now, at least.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate, but as of right now, nothing recorded. Hopefully soon.
Awesome. We'll have
How did you get started in comedy?
Yes. Oh, that's a good question. So I started performing when I was 14, basically about 2 months after the Testicle incident. And I knew I wanted to do comedy since I was about 9.
Oh, nice.
So I was very shy and I had this horrible speech impediment. And, no one really talked to me because no one could understand me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, kind of acting out bits and like sketches. And then people would laugh and then people would like come up to me and talk to me. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm decent at this. Like, I like this. And then once I was able to, speak better and more fluently, then I could make people laugh using words and telling jokes. And then it just straight up became like a drug. I got addicted. And there's something about making strangers and people even, laugh. It's euphoric almost. Like, so.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've been itching to get on stage. So yeah, when I was 14, I did my first show at a Yuck Yucks in Hamilton.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then it all took off from there.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, there's something about like just creating audible joy that's so rewarding.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's never bad, like, unless you offend somebody. But if you can make people laugh, like, who doesn't want to laugh? Like, it's awesome. That's why I think comedy is like almost unanimous and like everybody loves it. Like, how can you hate laughter, right? Like,
especially these days.
Yeah.
We need you more than ever.
It's almost too much material coming out, like, but it's one of those, like, you want to be sensitive and not offend anybody, telling jokes about COVID. Well, who was affected negatively by COVID, but also, where do you draw the line, right? Like, people can get offended from anything, so it's just
well, I think everything has the potential to offend people.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I see that's different now is it's less acceptable to punch down when you're doing comedy, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
I am also, yeah. So like, even with like riskier topics, like, there's a time and a place, but I think only some people are able to do that. I wouldn't touch it with like a 10-foot pole because I don't think I have necessarily the skill set to bring light to more darker topics,
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Courtney.
Cool.
Awesome. What do you wanna play Monkey's Paw?
I would love to.
Now that we kind of know you. We kind of know you now, but now we want to know your deepest, darkest secrets. Wishes. So yeah, you get 3 wishes, and we essentially make them terrible. So the wishes come with a price.
Oh God. Okay. Huh. Well, first wish, I guess. I mean, I think you're a dick if you don't pick, end world hunger, right? Like, that's kind of the go-to kind of one. So I'll go end world hunger.
All right, Deb.
Okay, we've gotten this a bunch of times, and we always fuck with it. We should find a new way to fuck with it. End world hunger. Okay. I always say like, okay, but there's no one on Earth to feed.
Everyone's dead, so there's no need to feed them.
Yes.
I like it.
It's technically right.
It's a little dark. All right, so there you've just decimated the entire human population, Brad.
Okay, awesome. Oh boy.
Next wish.
All right, next wish I would do. Well, now I'm trying to think. I'm gonna just assume I'm gonna murder a bunch of people regardless of what I pick.
Most likely.
That's basically. Okay, I would do. No, that They'll die for sure. All right, let's do end racism.
And racism. Yeah, granted, except we end up developing AI and like robots to the point where they decimate all of humanity. So it's just all robots.
Also, the robots are now performing a hate crime against us humans.
Well, there's no humans left. Kill all humans.
Okay.
Gary Bender, right?
At least there's equality in that part, you know? Yeah. So I'll take that as a win. Last one, I'll do...
We'll both destroy it. We'll both destroy it in our own unique way.
No matter what. I was gonna say, you know what? I like Michael Jackson. Let's bring him back. But I'm like, nope, because
he's a child molester.
Yeah. That is just, you're opening a world of jokes there.
And then I forgot about 2018. So then I was like, well, can't do that anymore. Let's go with having animals to talk. Let's just do a unique one. Get it.
Okay. They talk, but they only swear at you and they only scream at you. And they just hate everything about you.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Fuck you!
But I will say, I think that's the first wish that no one's died yet. So that's going to be a plus.
Well, Courtney still has get a stab at this.
Oh goodness.
Spoke too soon.
Animals could talk. Granted, but it's in that very bizarro Full Metal Alchemist way where you have to splice the animal with a human.
Oh, trippy.
Oh, no.
For every animal you want to talk, you have to destroy human life and like compile them into this mix, and then their language is there, but it's very halted and creepy.
Well done, Courtney. You managed to kill someone, and between the both of us, we managed to kill humanity in every single one of these. Yeah.
I tried to stump you, but your monstrality took over, and you were able to find a way.
Kill all humans.
Kill all humans. So what are you preparing for now? Like, I know you want to like do some recorded stuff, but are you like working on some other stuff? We can
yeah, for sure. So right now I am trying to like put together a weekly kind of comedy competition.
Cool.
Now that venues are opening up, I wanted to produce more shows of my own, and I find that's kind of the best way to like get out there and also meet new people. Like, why wait for other people to book me when I can book my own show, and kind of make my own thing and what I like. I like storytelling, so maybe have like a set of comedians on a show. They all tell a story, have a fan vote, and whoever had the best story moves on. Kind of do a bunch of those kind of rounds, and then at the end you got 4 or 5, 6 or whatever comedians kind of fighting in a battle to tell a story, and whoever has the best one wins, and they're the champion, and stuff like that, because I think everybody loves a good story, and if it's a funny story, who wouldn't want to see that? And it's a good funny story, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want to do moving forward. Something I like, telling stories and comedy, mixing them up, and see where it goes from there. But
excellent. Well, when you book that, let me know. I'll come out. See one of them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll let you know.
What's your favorite comedy venues in the city?
Oh, my absolute favorite one would probably be the Comedy Bar.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started out when I was 14, I Googled all the biggest comedy venues in Toronto, Hamilton, Ottawa, all over Ontario.
Yeah.
And I've made a list of like, okay, you know what? Let's say I don't perform anywhere else, but I perform at least one of these venues in my life. I'll be happy. And then after I started performing at more of them, like, okay, well now I want to perform at all of them. Like, now I gotta cross them all off. And comedy,
gotta catch them all.
Exactly. Like all the yucks and Comedy Bar, Absolute Comedy, all those. And Comedy Bar, I think, was the first real big one, like in Toronto. I've done like Ajax, Yuck Yucks, and Hamilton. But then Comedy Bar was the first one that was like fully sold out, and I was like, this is like, I'm gonna panic, like this is so much. And but after I've done it probably like 10-15 times now.
Awesome.
And time it's always so much fun. Like I always have a great show, and it's easily became like one of my absolute favorite places.
Awesome. And how much of a list do you have, and how many of them have you been able to cross off?
So right now I had a list of about 15.
Okay.
So it was all the Yuck Yucks in Toronto, all the Absolutes, the Comedy Bar, all those stuff. The 120 Diner, which was another one I really wanted.
I don't know that one.
That was a cool one. It was just a restaurant, but the owner, Mandy Goodhandy is her name, very nice woman, and she was able to pack it every night for like a show. She did jazz nights, comedy nights, and all that stuff. And that was also one of those, like when I went, it was packed, like 200 people. And it was like,
oh wow,
it's a really good production too. So it was a really good venue. It unfortunately closed down because of COVID.
Yeah, that sucks.
That was a really fun one to perform at. So now I only have one left to do.
Okay.
The Absolute in Ottawa. Yeah, that's my next one. And I'm actually moving up there in September for school. I'm going to teach college there. So
amazing.
Oh, so you're a masochist. Cool.
Can you I want to hear about a time that you bombed, but it was I want you to make it into a funny story.
Yes.
Don't worry, I got one of those.
Excellent.
So this was actually my first show I did when the first lockdown ended. So venues were just starting to open up, and I got booked for this one place. It was called the Keene Center for Performing Arts. It's about 30 minutes east of Peterborough. And so I drove up, and it was an old abandoned church. Well, not abandoned, but it was an abandoned church, and then they bought it out and like barely renovated it. Like it was very minuscule. They had its I forget what they're called, but the bleachers, the wooden bleachers.
Pews. They're called pews.
Pews, yes.
Pews,
I was so close. I was thinking like, no. Anyway, so I walk in, and the owner comes up to me and goes, "Are you Brad Martin?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." She's like, "Thank God you're here. Okay, go see the host. His name is Steven. He's around the corner." So I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So I brought my girlfriend with me, and we go around the corner, and he goes, "Brad?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like a 75-year-old man, and he had a big Hawaiian shirt on that was way too baggy on him. And he goes, "Thank God you're here. Okay, so here's the deal. Everyone else canceled but you."
Oh, geez.
I'm like, "Oh, God, okay." Because originally he told me to prepare 5 to 10 minutes. So I prepared 5 to 10 minutes. And he goes, "Do you have an hour?"
Oh, geez.
And I was like, "Absolutely not."
Fuck this. I'm out.
And then he goes, "Okay, well, how about this? How about you do half an hour, then I'll go on, do an hour of improv, already shoot me." And then he goes, "And then you come back on and do another half hour." I'm like, "That's still an hour." Like, that's math. Like, you can't trick me.
Write jokes when you're back there. I mean, how hard is it, man?
Exactly. You got like 20 minutes to prepare. You got this.
Just
and
how long
have you been doing comedy at this point?
This was probably 6 years in. So I had like, a good amount of stuff, but there's children running around also. So that was my next point, where the owner had her children there. And I don't tell like, offensive stuff or really dirty stuff. But, I'm an adult and I perform at bars and, 19 plus
for adults.
Yeah. So I have jokes for adults that are catered for adults. Sometimes it's dirty or sometimes it's inappropriate because I do it for adults. So now I'm like, okay, can't do that one. Even the Marley and Me joke, I'm like, okay, well, these kids, they can't handle a dog death joke, because they even told me like just nothing about death, because this is an old church. We don't want any bad omens. I'm like, okay,
man.
now I got like 30 seconds of
Oh
material.
my god.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And the guy goes up. Me and my girlfriend were in the front row of 8 people, all of who works there, and 2 of which are children. And he goes up and does an hour of improv. An hour where they play this game where everyone says one word and you make it a silly sentence, and at the end it's going to be a silly sentence. And it was like, the dog went to the park had poop. And
so it's Mad Libs.
Yeah, exactly.
Live action Mad Libs.
And everyone had to say one word, and it was so bad. They thought it was so funny. And then he did this, weird act out scene of him like masturbating, and I was like, whoa, I thought we weren't allowed to do anything inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, there's children here, like, read the room at least. And then he was bombing also, and then people started to turn against him. The venue owner was booing him.
Oh jeez.
And she's friends with this guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, anyway, Bradley Martin, ladies and gentlemen. So then I go up and no one's clapping, which fine, judge for yourself. I tell my first joke, nothing. I tell my second joke, nothing. And I just keep doing joke after joke. All the lights are on too, so I can see the disappointment in their eyes, and I can see them judging me. And then I've never done, the testicle surgery story on a show before. So you know what? I'm just gonna tell this and buy some time, because they want me to do an hour. I've gone through like most of my jokes, and it's been like 10 minutes, because I would just say it and no one would laugh. So I'm like, anyway, blah, blah, blah.
What's the deal with airline food?
Grocery stores.
Grocery store.
And I'm telling this joke or the story, and the owner starts yelling at me. Not true. Didn't happen. Not believable. And like, no, trust me. Like, I got a picture of me in the scrubs, like with me and Tegan in the scrubs. And then if you look on the comments of the photo from like 8 years ago, my stepdad comments, oh, Brad had to help with the testicle surgery. Ha ha ha. I'm like, don't worry. Like, I got proof. Like, I wouldn't make this. And it's concerning if I could make that up. And so they just kept yelling at me, not true, not true. And then I look in the back corner, and the guy had his Hawaiian shirt off, and he was just standing in the back corner of the church, shirtless. So I'm like, I don't even know what's going on at this point. So I try to make a joke about it, and I'm like, he's like, oh, if you want to do more time, just keep going. I'm like, how about this? If I want to let you know I'm doing more time, I'll take my shirt off too, and then you'll know. And I was like, that might be a little bit of good crowd work, but then no one laughed. And like, if you write jokes and you perform them and you get laughs, but then you do them at a show and they bomb, that's fine, because they do get laughs at other places.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like improvising a joke and then having no one laugh, and you're just there in the silence, like marinating in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I ended up just having to do like 18 more minutes. I can't even remember what I talked about. It was pure silence. And then I got off stage, and I was with my girlfriend. I'm like, this is brutal. Like, we gotta go. But we're in the front row, and we're the only audience members that aren't working there. So we sat through more improv, and then they invited me back up. They're like, do you have any more jokes? I'm like, I do, but they're not appropriate for the children. Like, I don't feel comfortable. They're like, come on. Everyone starts cheering. Come on, Brad, go back up. We don't care. Like, go do it.
Oh, no.
Like,
we just punished you
I know.
by not laughing at everything, but
like, you guys did not like my clean stuff. Like, please.
You didn't even give me a pity laugh.
Yeah, exactly. So I go back up, and I do my first joke that's inappropriate, and I get a bunch of oohs and ahs. I'm like, I know. And then I do my next 5 minutes more of just jokes, no laughs. And then I had to just be like, thank you, and sit down with all of them. They're all surrounding me. All the lights are on, and they can just see me. I just put my head down and just swallowed my fear. And then at the end of the show, the host was hitting on my girlfriend.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that is a bad show, man.
And then asked her if he could give her a ride to his house because his wife isn't home. But the worst part of the whole thing was, I was like, oh, see, this is me and Tegan on Take Your Kid to Work Day. Like, I told you the story was real. No one believed me. And he goes, hey, man, good job. She's hot. I'm like, she is 14 in that photo.
Oh, God.
And he goes, oh, don't matter, man. You got it. You got it. I'm like, this is awful. So I'm like, Alicia, we're leaving. I'm like, Alicia, I just want a quick smoke break. She's like, you don't smoke. I'm like, I want a quick smoke break.
I do now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This show was so bad, I have now started smoking, okay?
Really? And then I went outside. She's like, so where are you going to get cigarettes from? I'm like, no. Like, I'm just trying to leave. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, they ran down, chased after me as we were running to our car. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, we got to go. They're like, no, here's your money. Like, you got to.
I don't even want it. That was so terrible. Get away from me.
It was $100. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll come back next week. But that's a bit of a long story, but that's probably one of, like, most times when I bomb, I just have fun with it. You know, I try to mess with the audience, and it's like a game, you know, like trying to win them back.
Yeah.
But that time I just had no enjoyment. I was like, this is awful. All of this is bad. And so that I would count that as my worst bomb story. Sure.
Have you ever performed drunk?
Yes. Yeah. I never used to drink before sets. And then the one time I got my buddy to drive me, and I was really nervous. It was the 120 diner, and I saw all the people, and there was a showcase. Like, if I did well, then the host would invite me on like her other show. So like, it's a potential to get booked on like a bunch of shows. It was a really big deal. He's like, just take the edge off, man. Like, it's okay. Have some drinks. You'll be loose. You know, you're funny when you're drunk. Like, awesome. So I drank, and then I got on stage and I was buzzed. But then I became one of the comedians that had his phone out like this and was reading off my jokes because I couldn't remember a thing. And I was like, kind of would stutter my words, and it was bad. So I did that probably 3 years into me performing stand-up, and I haven't drank before a set since. Like,
okay.
Catch your call, probably.
I mean, how many was a few?
I had but I had probably 6 beers.
That's a decent amount of beers.
It's a decent,
okay.
You're not, wasted, but you're not sober. You're like in that, buzzy, warm middle.
Except for you've forgotten your own material.
Yeah,
except for apparently I forgot everything.
I'm gonna say you were drunk, not wasted, not tipsy.
Yeah.
You were just drunk. Right down.
Just living in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like once I did like karaoke when I was so wasted that I thought that someone else was singing for me. So I was like, am I singing it? Like, is this my voice? I was so disconnected from what was going on. Like,
that's amazing.
Oh no.
Yeah, good times.
Oh shit. That's too funny.
I want to hear some one-liners, and then I want to know how we can reach you.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let me just think. I have one joke about Michael J. Fox, who had Parkinson's, and I always wondered if he gave his child shaken baby syndrome. That was one. That was one of the first jokes I wrote. So it's a bit rough, but I always loved it. If I have a nickel for every time a homeless man asked me for change, I would still say no.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. What's another one? Oh, this one never gets a laugh usually, but it's one of those, like, I love it so much. Like, and I don't understand how people don't find it funny, but anyway.
Here we go.
I saw a woman walking 2 dogs the other day, and I just thought, man, she must be really blind. It's not that much of a solid joke, but I love it.
Yeah.
And then I have
That's something like a little kid would think. Like
yeah.
It's not quite a dad joke.
Yeah. It's more like a kid joke. Yeah.
It's more of like if a man was like trying to get his wife pregnant and like they're trying for a baby, so it's like a pre-dad joke. Like he's almost there, but he's not.
Yeah.
There yet. And then
this isn't even his final form.
Just the tip.
He almost evolved. Like
oh fuck yeah.
Probably lastly, like my big closer is I talk about Tim Hortons and or Tim Horton, who I would say I agree. And I would say he's one of the most famous Canadians of all time because, he's stapled as an icon in our Canadian history, but not many people know this, is that he died in a drinking and driving accident that he caused. Like he was a drunk driver.
Yep.
Oh.
And this joke where I say, the police officers arrive on the scene and said, man, the road is covered in Timbits. So,
Oh, man.
Very cute.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys like that.
Yep, absolutely.
It's dark. It's dark.
And that's
dark.
I love it.
It's one of those jokes you're like, oh, and then you start just like
fuck yes.
Yeah.
So good.
But it's okay because he's a drunk driver, so it's okay to make fun of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. So how can we follow you? How can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, of course. So my Instagram right now is Bradley Martin 40. So just BradleyMartin 40. And then from there, I'm going to be developing a website soon because I found out that comedians apparently need websites.
Okay.
So apparently that's a good thing to have. So I'm going to be developing a website soon. And there I will be posting more videos of my stand-up, some live shows, and where I will be performing in the upcoming days. So that's where you can find all the information right now is my Instagram handle.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. It was so nice meeting you, man. And
yeah, it was really nice meeting you too.
Yeah. Let us know when you're playing or you're producing those shows, and
yeah,
Deb and I will come down. We'll have some drinks after your set.
After your set, yeah.
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.